Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we are doing something a little different. We're not talking about a new product. We're not talking about the latest shiny feature that just dropped.
No.
We need to talk about a feeling. A feeling I think a lot of us are having right now here in, February 2026?
A feeling. Okay.
Yeah, it's a very specific kind of frustration. We've had these incredible AI tools for a few years now, and the novelty, it's worn off. And I look around, I look at my own work, and I realize I'm basically using the most powerful cognitive engine in human history to spell check my emails.
The glorified search engine trap.
That's it exactly. It feels like we've hit a plateau. You paste in some text, you say summarize this, you get a result, and, you move on.
And it's useful, don't get me wrong.
It is useful, sure, but is it revolutionary? I mean, not the way I'm using it. And today's deep dive is all about why that's happening and, more importantly, how we break out of it.
It's a really common sentiment. We are seeing this massive gap between the potential of the technology and the day-to-day application of it. Most people are driving a Ferrari to the mailbox.
That is the perfect analogy, and we have a stack of research today. We're pulling from Stanford, MIT, McKinsey, the OECD that argues we're missing the point entirely.
The central premise really is that we need a fundamental shift.
A shift in our relationship with the tech. We have to move from using AI as just a tool
To collaborating with it as a strategic partner.
And I know, strategic partner sounds like corporate buzzword bingo. I can practically hear eyes rolling.
It does. But the research we have today suggests this isn't just a fancy label. It's a completely different operational mode. And it has measurable economic results.
Right, let's just hit them with the hook immediately. There is a statistic here from the Stanford Human-Centered AI Institute that it stopped me in my tracks.
You're talking about the performance gap.
The 50% performance gap.
Yes. So Stanford ran this controlled study, and they found that human AI teams that operate as true partners, meaning there is a back and forth, a dialogue.
A collaborative dynamic.
Exactly. Those teams outperform the ones that treat AI as a mere assistant or just a tool by 50%.
Let's just pause on that. 50%. That is not a marginal gain. That's not, I saved 10 minutes on Friday.
No.
That is like adding half a workforce for free just by changing how you talk to the software.
Precisely. And that's the mission of this deep dive. We aren't just going to say prompt better. We are going to unpack the roadmap these sources provide. We've got a maturity model, a governance structure, and frankly, a whole new way to think about your cognitive labor.
Because the sources are very clear. This doesn't happen by magic. You don't just log in one morning and suddenly have a digital co-founder. It requires a really radical change in mindset.
And that's what we have to say. Phase 1, the mindset shift. The source calls it breaking the paradigm.
The paradigm being what, exactly?
The command and control structure. I mean, think about how you and most people talk to an AI. It's all imperatives. Write this, fix that, summarize this.
It's an order.
It's a military command. You are the general. The AI is the private. It's transactional. I give an order, it gives me an output.
And that's the bottleneck.
That's what the research suggests.
Yeah.
If you treat the AI like a subordinate who just executes orders, you get passive results. You get a condensed version of what you already know. You aren't creating new value. You're just compressing existing value.
The source gives this really concrete before and after example that made it all click for me. So the old way, the tool mindset is, give me a summary of this report.
We've all done that 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And the result is, fine. It's accurate. But what have you really gained? You've saved some reading time, but you haven't generated a single new insight.
Okay, so now here's the new way from the text. Instead of asking for a summary, you say, analyze this report as my strategy partner. Identify 3 hidden risks, 2 unexploited opportunities, and propose a prioritized action plan.
Just listen to the difference in agency there.
It feels completely different.
You're assigning it a role, strategy partner. You're not asking for a summary. You're asking for synthesis. You're asking for hidden risks, which implies it needs to look beyond just the obvious text. You're explicitly inviting it to connect dots.
But I have to play devil's advocate for a second. Is that just, fancy prompting? Is it just using more words to get the bot to talk more? Or is there real substance to that change?
Well, the data says there's substance. There's an MIT study cited here that validates this exact approach. They call it cognitive collaboration.
Cognitive collaboration.
And the teams that reformulated their interactions this way, inviting critique, asking for a plan, they achieved 47% more actionable insights compared to the others.
47% more actionable insights. So that means Nearly half of the good ideas you could be having are just being left on the table.
Yes, because you're treating the AI like a typewriter instead of a collaborator.
It's about co-creation then.
It really is. Yeah. When you use that second prompt, you're inviting the AI to, in a way, hallucinate productively. You're asking it to connect dots you might have missed. You're using its massive processing power to expand your own cognition, not just to save 5 minutes of reading.
I like that cognitive collaboration. It sounds much better than I asked the bot to do my homework. But, okay, so let's say I'm sold on the mindset. I want a partner, not a tool. How do I know if I'm doing it right?
This is where the maturity model comes in.
Right. The material outlines 5 stages to get this right, and it's validated by Gartner and McKinsey.
And this framework is so crucial because it helps you identify where you actually are. And I'll bet most listeners probably think they're further ahead than they are.
Okay, let's go through them. What's stage 1?
Stage 1 is just exploration. This is curiosity. This is where we all were back in, say, 2023. Playing with it, making it write funny poems, seeing if it could code a little.
The novelty phase?
Novelty phase. The data shows only about 12% of companies are still there now in 2026. Most have moved on.
Which leads to stage 2, incorporation.
We're the task automation phase.
Yeah.
And this is where the vast majority of individual users are stuck right now. Write this email, debug this code, draft this memo.
You get a little productivity bump.
You do. About 22%, according to the notes.
Yeah.
But it's isolated. It's just you at your desk getting your own work done a little faster. It doesn't change the company. It just changes your afternoon.
Right. It's an efficiency tool, not a transformation. So then what's stage 3?
Stage 3 is proliferation. Now we're talking cross-department efficiency. This is when the marketing team's AI workflow starts piping data directly into the sales team's AI workflow. You're removing the human bottlenecks between departments.
And efficiency jumps up to, what, 38% here? But the source flags this as a bit of a danger zone, right?
A huge danger zone. Because if your departments don't talk to each other, well, human to human, just connecting their AIs won't fix it. You just automate the chaos. You amplify the noise.
So you have to fix the process first.
You have to. But if you get through that, you hit stage 4, optimization.
This is where it starts to sound like science fiction to me. Autonomous systems with supervision.
This is the shift from human in the loop to human on the loop. The AI isn't waiting for a prompt anymore. It is actively running processes, monitoring supply chains, adjusting ad spend, flagging cyber threats in real time.
And the human is the manager.
The human is the manager.
Yeah.
You only step in when the system flags an anomaly or asks for a specific judgment call. And the stats say this increases decision speed by 53%.
Wow. Which in a competitive market, being 50% faster usually means you win.
It's a massive advantage.
And that brings us to the holy grail. Stage 5, transformation.
AI is a cognitive partner with shared responsibility. This is where innovation just spikes by 71%. You're not just doing things faster. You're doing things you literally could not do before.
Can you give me a real-world example of that? What does stage 5 actually look like?
Stage 5 is when an AI analyzes, say, 5 years of customer support logs, cross-references it with global market trends, and proactively suggests a completely new product line that no human had even thought of. And then it drafts the specs and outlines the launch strategy.
And the human team's job is to
refine it, challenge it, improve it. It's generative business strategy.
That is just wild. But here's the reality check, and it is a harsh one. The McKinsey statistics in the source say only 18% of organizations ever reach phase 4 or higher.
Less than 1 in 5.
However, and this is so what that really matters, those 18% of organizations generate 83% of the total economic value of AI.
That's a staggering statistic. It's a power law distribution. It means if you were stuck in those early tool phases, 1, 2, or even 3, you were fighting for the scraps.
So the massive transformational value is all concentrated in the later stages.
Where the AI is a partner, not a servant.
And everyone else is busy automating their emails, thinking they're being futuristic, while the real winners are building these cognitive partnerships that are basically printing money.
Exactly right. And that leads to the big question of how. You can't just tell your employees, go be partners with a bot. You need structure. You need an architecture.
Which is where the Stanford framework on shared responsibility comes in. It basically answers the question, who does what?
Because if you're partners, you can't both be trying to drive the car at the same time. Meaningful collaboration needs clear roles.
So let's walk through this, because I think this is where the rubber meets the road. First up, creativity. Who holds the pen?
The human leads. The AI inspires and co-creates. The spark, the intent, the why are we even doing this, that has to come from the human. The AI then provides the variations, the what-ifs, the iteration.
It's like a jam session. You set the key and the tempo.
And the AI plays the solos, exactly. Okay, next, execution.
This one seems straightforward.
It is. The AI executes. It processes the data, it writes the code, it formats the report. The human shifts to being a supervisor. You stop being the bricklayer and you start being the architect. You check the work, but you don't lay every single brick.
Okay, then there's emotional context.
The human interprets. The AI can analyze data, it can do sentiment analysis, it can tell you a customer is using angry words. But only a human can provide the empathy and understand the nuance of why they're angry.
And how to fix that relationship.
Right. And the last one, which I think is the most critical, ethics.
Non-negotiable.
Absolutely non-negotiable.
Sure.
The human decides. The AI's role is to alert to risks. It can flag potential bias, it can flag safety issues, it can say this looks like a compliance violation. But the moral judgment call, the decision to proceed or to stop, is 100% human. You never, ever outsource your conscience.
And it sounds simple, but the source has a statistic about what happens when you get this wrong, the cost of ambiguity.
Yeah, they found that ambiguity in these responsibilities causes 68% of all failures in advanced AI projects.
Wow. 68%.
If you don't know who's driving the car you, or the AI you crash, it is that simple. If you think the AI is checking for errors and the AI thinks you are, nobody checks for errors.
That is a recipe for disaster. And this also changes how we measure success. We used to look at ROI in just, financial terms, but the source lists something called cognitive productivity.
I love this metric. It's defined as time freed up for high-level thinking. It's not just time saved. If you save an hour and you use it to doom scroll social media, that's not productivity.
Right.
But if you save an hour and use it to solve a major strategic problem, that is real value.
And there's also mutual trust. How often do humans accept AI recommendations without excessive double-checking? That's a direct measure of how well the partnership is working.
And there's a Bank of International Settlement study on this. It shows that high-trust teams, where the human and AI have a calibrated relationship, are 55% more productive on complex tasks. It's the difference between micromanaging an intern and working with a trusted colleague.
But trust is a really loaded word here, because we've all seen AI make things up. We've seen the hallucinations. Which brings us to the section on risks and governance. The source calls it the trust but verify paradox.
It's the central tension of our age. On one hand, you have to trust the system to get the speed benefits. On the other hand, the source notes that 67% of commercial AI systems show some form of bias.
And on the flip side, you have the human problem. Overconfidence. 41% of users just accept AI outputs without critical verification. We get lazy, we see a polished, confident-sounding answer, and we just nod along.
Which is so dangerous. If you are in a strategic partnership, you don't just blindly agree with your partner. You debate, you verify. If your business partner said, I think we should bet the entire company on this one idea, you wouldn't just say, okay.
No, you'd ask for the data.
You'd challenge them. So what's the solution? The source proposes something that sounds completely counterintuitive. They call it deliberate friction.
I really appreciate this concept. In tech, we are obsessed with removing friction. One-click everything, seamless. But here, you're saying we actually need to design friction into the process.
For critical decisions, yes. You want to make it harder to accept blindly. You make human validation mandatory. You force the human to pause, review, and consciously sign off. You put a speed bump in the road specifically so you don't drive off a cliff.
That makes perfect sense. It's like the safety on a power tool. It's there to make sure you really mean it when you pull the trigger.
Exactly. And this isn't just a good idea, it's becoming the standard. The source points to the European AI Act and the OECD governance pillars as the framework for this.
Let's just touch on those pillars quickly. There are 5 of them, and they're basically the rules of the road for this partnership.
First is beneficence. The AI has to generate value for all stakeholders, not just the shareholder. Second, proactive non-maleficence.
Which is a fancy way of saying do no harm, but doing it proactively.
Right. Anticipating the mess before it happens. Third is human autonomy. The human always maintains the capacity to veto.
You never give the AI the final say.
Never on anything consequential. Fourth is distributive justice, ensuring fairness in the output. And finally, operational explicability.
This one is huge for me. It means you have to show your work.
Yes. Every decision has to be traceable. If the AI suggests a strategy, you need to be able to ask why. You need to see the logic chain. The black box said so is not an acceptable strategy.
It's interesting because usually when we talk about governance and regulations, it feels like bureaucracy. It feels like a brake on innovation.
But the perspective here is completely different. In this context, governance isn't a brake, it's the catalyst for trust. Think about a Formula One car. It has these incredibly powerful brakes. Why?
So it can stop.
No, so it can go fast. If you didn't have brakes you could trust, you'd be terrified to push the engine. You'd drive 20 miles an hour. The brakes, the safety features, are what allow the driver to push that car to 200 miles an hour with confidence.
That is a fantastic way to frame it. The safety rails are the infrastructure that lets the collaboration scale.
That's it. You can't scale a partnership if you don't trust the other party. These pillars build that trust.
So let's bring it all back together. We've covered the mindset shift from tool to partner. We've looked at the maturity model and seen that the real value, that 83% of economic value, is in those later stages. We've broken down the responsibilities and we've looked at the safety rails.
And if we zoom out, the economic imperative is just undeniable. The source says, organizations in phase 4 or higher generate 4.6 times more value than those stuck back in phase 2.
4.6 times. That's the difference between a thriving business and one that is just treading water.
And it brings us to the big truth that's outlined in the conclusion of the source material.
I have it highlighted right here. AI will not replace humans. Instead, humans who collaborate with AI will replace those who do not.
It's a sentence we've heard before. Like maybe back in 2023 it was a prediction. But now, in 2026, it's no longer a prediction. It is an observation of the market. The gap is widening fast between the tool users and the co-creators.
So for everyone listening, here's the challenge for this week. The next time you open that chat window or launch that AI application, just pause for a second. Ask yourself, am I treating this like a hammer? Am I just trying to bang in a nail?
Or are you treating it like a partner that can multiply your intelligence? Try that prompt we discussed. Don't ask for a summary. Ask for a critique. Ask for a counter-argument. Ask the AI to simulate a customer who hates your idea and tell you why. Engage it in a dialogue.
Because the future belongs to the co-creator. It's not about sitting back and letting the robot do all the work. It's about leaning in and working with it.
The true revolution here isn't that AI is learning to think like us.
What is it then?
It's that we must learn to think with it.
That is a fascinating thought to leave on. We're so worried about the machine becoming human, we haven't stopped to think about how we need to evolve to meet the machine halfway.
Precisely.
Thank you for listening to this deep dive. Go out there, find your strategic partner, and start co-creating. We'll see you next time.